What's going on? This is Seahawks Today. I am your host, Will Ortner, and we got to talk about the players that you need to keep an eye on for this Sunday's matchup against the Indianapolis Colts. Who's going to be the biggest X factor for the Seahawks? I want you to think about that player because I'm going to let you know who I think that player is at the very end of the video, but I also got to let you know about some guys that we really need to take a look at throughout the day. And I'm going to start this one off a little bit differently than most. You should go and check me out on Twitter or on X, whatever you prefer to call it, at Will Ortner. That is my real account. That is my real tweet. That is my real profile picture. And I want to say that I've seen Rasheed Shaheed's kick return video probably 1,000 times at this point in the week. I just continually pull up my tweets and go, wow, that was crazy. That was crazy. That was so cool. He's so freaking fast. And I ask, how many kick returns more do you think he's going to have this season? You can let me know down below in the comments, or you can just go over, follow me on X, and hit me in the DMs. Now, it is important to note, I already said that he's an important player that I enjoy watching. He's going to be an important player that you want to watch this week against the Indianapolis Colts, because I think that we have finally unlocked him here in Seattle. For multiple weeks now, ever since that trade from the New Orleans Saints, there was a question of, was he ever going to pop? Was he ever going to have that big play? I mean, I had to hear all the time from our Chat Sports Saints guys talking to me saying, hey, Rasheed Shaheed, you're not using him right. You're not using him right. I think we're finally starting to use him right, because you can see there, those are his stats with the Seattle Seahawks. Only 104 yards in the year. Well, guess what? Over half of those came against the Atlanta Falcons. Sam Darnold was finally starting to find Shaheed in the open field, and it felt like Kubiak, Shaheed, Sam Darnold, some combination of all of those different factors and players and people, it took them a little bit to build that chemistry. I think that chemistry is being built, and I think that you could see Shaheed have a big play or two in the passing game, but also in the return game as well. Now, I do have to ask you, am I correct? Is Rasheed Shaheed finally unlocked with the Seahawks? I think that he has been. So I would go down in the comments and say, yes, Rasheed Shaheed has been unlocked. Maybe you don't think so just quite yet, and you go down in the comments and type no. Whatever your opinion is, make sure to let me know down below. Now, the next Hawk that I think is important to watch is running back Kenneth Walker III. And my reasoning behind this is basically ever since I read that ESPN article from Bill Barnwell, I've been thinking about what Walker needs to do to earn a bigger contract, because we all know that most players in the National Football League only make it to that second contract, especially in the running back position. And Barnwell had this to say about where Kenneth Walker is kind of ranking. As a pending free agent, Walker is obviously hoping for a multi-year guarantee as opposed to something like a one-year, $5.3 million deal that Najee Harris signed with the Chargers during the offseason. I think a big game for Kenneth Walker could go a long way when it comes to his contract negotiations. The Colts are a top 10 team right now in the National Football League when it comes to stopping the run. So if Walker is able to have a big performance against them, one, it's going to increase his season totals, which he is still on pace to get right at about that 1,000 yards. If he has a big game, that would take him well over. But more importantly, it shows that he can have good running games against strong teams and strong defenses. He has slowly worked his way back to being more the feature back this year for the Seahawks. I think this is a great way for him to show that he belongs up on top. And I think it's a great way for him to show as well that he belongs as one of the better running backs in the National Football League. Now, the next player that I want to talk about is Byron Murphy II. And this isn't so much of a, hey, Byron Murphy hasn't done all that much lately. It's more of a conversation around what the Indianapolis Colts do so well. And, well, they run the football at an extremely efficient rate, especially with everything that's been going on over in that QB position. Jonathan Taylor is the leading rusher in the National Football League right now. He's averaging well over 5 yards a carry in that 16 touchdown number. There was a conversation that he might even break LaDainian Tomlinson's record. Now, obviously, that has come back down to earth a little bit, and with all of the different injury issues that you are seeing at that quarterback spot, I mean, shoot, there's a decent chance that you're going to see a lot of Phillip Rivers in this game. You're going to want the Colts to try and lean on Jonathan Taylor, because that means he's running right into the heart of this defense, which is right where Byron Murphy sits. Byron Murphy has to have a huge game, because if he is able to force the Indianapolis Colts to fall behind early, not be able to run the football, well then, of course, what does that mean? They have to throw, and I hate all of their quarterback options right now in Indianapolis. Byron Murphy having a big game is only going to make things easier for your Seattle Seahawks. Now, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. We have daily Seattle Seahawks content coming out, and what's most important is we don't just talk about the Seahawks, we also talk about what's to come in the future, right? A lot of Phillip Rivers videos on the channels this week because of everything that was happening there. Also important to note that we're already even looking a little bit into the 2026 offseason and where coaches may or may not end up going. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel. You don't want to miss any of this content. Okay, so the next player that I want to talk about is outside linebacker Uchenna Nwosu. And I think there are some things that we really need to dive into with him, because he really has been quiet lately. But before we get into any of that, I need to let you know about my good friends over at Prize Picks. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. It is the holiday season, the best time of year for sports, bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It is all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which game to watch, there is one place where it feels good to be right. Prize Picks. New feature alert! Prize Picks now has early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. On Prize Picks, how you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, choose Flex Play, where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the power play. No matter your play, Prize Picks is a great way to put your takes to the test. I have a 2-pick power play for this weekend's action. JSN, more on his receiving yards against the Colts. Jared Goff helping us out, more on his pass yards against the Rams. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. All right, so a little bit more on Uchenna Nwosu. He's obviously been one of the better players for the Seahawks this season, but he also seems to be a little bit of a Dion Waiters type of a player. For those of you who aren't basketball nerds, means he's a feast or famine type of guy. So when he is in the backfield getting a lot of sacks, making a lot of plays, you hear a lot from Uchenna Nwosu. He's been kind of quiet lately. And he's the type of pass rusher that the Seahawks are going to need in the late little bit of this season and in the postseason. When you look at the sack leaders, there was a point in time where Uchenna Nwosu was number one by a mile. And now Leonard Williams and Byron Murphy have caught up. Now, that's not to say that Uchenna Nwosu isn't out here making plays. I thought he was fantastic against the Rams, knocking the ball down constantly when Matt Stafford was trying to throw. But I do think that it is important to mention that he's not getting the big numbers plays like he was early on in the season. I need more sacks from Nwosu, and I think that he can come up with a big sack or two in this one against the Colts. The last Seahawk that I want to talk about is safety, defensive back, cornerback, linebacker, I don't know, maybe even defensive end, Nick Emmanwori. This guy is so much fun to watch. He's completely earned his nickname of being Demon Warrior. He's out on the field. He can block kicks. He can intercept the ball. He can force fumbles. He can play in the run game. He does great in pass coverage. There is nothing that Emmanwori can't do, and I just love sitting back and getting to enjoy watching him play on the field. We're finally seeing him start to peak, and it's at the perfect time because he missed a good chunk of the time at the beginning of the year with his high ankle sprain. Ever since he's been in the lineup and he's been allowed to just really roam free and become the type of player that we all know he could be and would be in Seattle, man, he's just so freaking special to watch. I absolutely love it. Probably going to get that rookie DPOY. Now, here are my Seahawks to watch. I think it's important. Rashid Shaheed, Kenneth Walker, Byron Murphy, Uchenna Nwosu, and Nick Emmanwori. But did I miss a player? Sound off down below in the comments. Is there a player that you want to watch, that you're excited to see, or you think is going to step up for the Seahawks? Let me know down below in the comments. The last player that I want to talk about, and I do believe he is the X factor, is Devon Witherspoon. He's going to be an absolute menace on Sunday. He was flying around, making all kinds of plays on Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. I think that we are finally seeing Devon Witherspoon back to what we've always known he can be, and that's one of the most versatile players in the National Football League. We all know the quarterback situation in Indianapolis. Watch for Devon Witherspoon to absolutely take advantage of what the Colts are rolling out there. Make sure that you head on over to social media. Follow me at Will Ortner on X. You already saw I give out fire takes. You saw that early on in the video. And on Instagram, I've got shorts content coming out every single day talking about the Seahawks, enjoying life. You don't want to miss any of this kind of stuff. So make sure that you follow me at Will Ortner on those sites. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later.